Welcome to another episode of D-Lab's Electronic Shop. And today I have a Carvin Vintage 16 amplifier. Came in here for repair. Symptom is it'll play for a while and then she'll die and then it will recover. So it sounds like some bad connections. But first, let's hook it up and see if we can reproduce the problem. So here's the Carvin Vintage 16 ready to be worked on. Just wanted to kind of go over the features. You can see she's a pretty straightforward amp with a reverb, which is very cool. I've worked on a couple of these. They're based on a pair of 6BQ5 output tubes. Not exactly my favorite tube, but when they're working, they do a good job. So let's see if we can get this thing to act up. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, I got the camera almost right inside of the amp. I just plugged her in and it's on. So let's see if we can detect any audio dropouts just by the white noise level coming off the speaker. Alright, so right off the bat we've got some hum. I'm going to do a little tapping. Oh, that was the preamp tube. Will she come back to life? You can hear a little bit of... Anyway, I think I've seen enough. Alright, let's pop her out and take a look at the circuit board. Here's the inside of the Vintage 16. Now the reverb, unfortunately, in these guys is not a spring reverb. It's got this little magical board here that does that, right? But where we're going to concentrate our efforts right now are on these PC mount tube sockets, especially this one that's going to that preamp tube that's cutting out. I know you probably can't see this, but I'm looking at the connections where it's soldered into the old circuit board. And this is a dual-sided board, so the solder needs to flow through these little vias and make connections to these upper traces that you see, right? But it's actually soldered in from the other side. Well, looking at these, I'm seeing some serious voids around these pads, like they did not get adequate solder. And that sure would answer why that preamp tube was cutting in and out. So unfortunately, to fix it, I'm going to have to pull the board out, flip her upside down, resolder things. But other than that, she looks pretty good. This transformer here looks like he's a little wonky. It's like he's bent back. I don't know why that is, but I'll inspect that and correct that before I'm done. While inspecting the board, I was peeking here at C42. I'm like, what the heck is that? Some kind of goop here, okay? And I believe that goop came out of this capacitor. I don't know how it got up the side of it this way. But I'm going to pull that cap out and take a look, because that's usually what you'll see when all the electrolyte spills out of the cap. Alright, so the board's loose. Not too bad of a job. There's 3 Phillips screws in the rear. And then of course the nuts that hold the shafts of these pots, the input jack. And then I loosened the screws on the output transformer, okay, and got that guy just free so that it would move out of the way, pulled the board back, and flipped her upside down. And the circuit board itself looks pretty decent. Nobody's been in here soldering, so I don't think anybody's ever been in here. So what the plan is I'm going to reheat all the pins on these tube sockets, okay? Then we're going to pull that one cap and investigate what that goop is. It could be something external, I'm not sure. I'm also going to touch up the solder on these pots because they are famous for having little hairline cracks that you can't see. Alright, I pulled out that cap with the goop on the side. It is something external. It did not come out of the cap. So I'll check the cap real quick, make sure it's good, and then she goes back in. Alright, the little Carvin's back together after soldering up the board. Everything now appears very stable. I can beat on the tubes underneath here. See our sine wave. Looks great. The amp now is very stable. No more cutting out. I'd say that we're good to go. So here's full volume, no input. Tap on things. Hit the board. We're good to go. It appears as though I found the issues with the Carvin Vintage 16. The only problem is with these circuit board based amps is after some time they'll grow more bad connections. That's just what you get with these amps. When they work, they're great, but when they break, it's a pain in the old keister, right? That's why D-Lab loves the old point-to-point wired amps, but I'll do these, but they're not my favorite thing. See you again.